back for another video. My name is Josh Katsick, and today is my Please Teacher and Please Twins review. Now, these are very weird anime series. I probably would not fly in today's culture, maybe still in Japan, but definitely not here in America. Well, yes and no, but then, I definitely don't think it would pass in today's culture, but if you understand more of the context, I think it could still technically work, I guess. I mean, it's to each of his own, I guess. But essentially the plot of the first series, Please Teacher, you have this character named Kei. He essentially 3 years ago, he was put into this thing called a standstill, where his body just stops working, but he doesn't die or anything, but it stops aging or whatever, and he's in this position for 3 years. So this happened 3 years ago, so he was 15 then, so he's actually 18, but he's going to high school and stuff like that for being 15 instead of 18. So, but then he suddenly sees this alien ship appear, and then all of a sudden the next day when he goes to class with all his friends, Koshi has kind of likes him. Then you have this other girl named Ichigo, who is actually another person who has a standstill, but she's actually 21. So she was in a standstill for 6 years, actually. And then you have another girl named Kaede, who's, eventually goes into a relationship with another guy named Hyosuke, I think is his pronounced, another friend. So these are the friend group and stuff. There's one more character I'm not more sure, but a new teacher shows up and named Mizuho, I think it is. Yeah, Mizuho. And she's the alien. And she actually moves next door to where Kei lives. Now Kei lives with his uncle and aunt. And she figures out that Kei was the person who saw her. And this leads to a very event with each other. And then, they were on her ship, and other stuff go wrong. And she also has this other creature, I forgot what it's called, but it helps on her journey with the ship and stuff. And she's there because she works for this force that's supposed to watch over different sectors or whatever. I think if I recall, to learn stuff like that. But yeah, this goes into a different dynamic between them, and then at school they actually get trapped in a shed where their kind of relationship goes even more beyond. But they're eventually were rescued by the aunt, or by the uncle and aunt, and then the principal of the school. And he's not happy because he thinks that they're doing something that a teacher and a student should have. But in reality, they're actually married. That's what they say. The uncle says they're actually married because he's actually 18 or whatever. And so this goes into a whole ruse for the entire show where they're married. They had to, fill out, the marriage license, put it in the computer, send it off so that when the principal checks this, that they're actually married. And then they even had a kind of a ceremony too. Well, if we're married, we might as well be married or whatever. It's very weird. This is why I say it wouldn't fly in today's cultures, because the student and the teacher is a little, but yet again, he's also 18, so he is adult. So that's why I was like, well, it could work because if you understand that he's 18, but yet again, it's a teacher and a student, so that's why I was like, eh. But it's very comedic show, and if you get past that idea, but they do live together, and by living together, it actually blossoms into an actual love. Like they actually fall in love with each other, and at the end they do it. They actually do the thing. If you know what I'm talking about, I don't want to really discuss it. It's you don't really see much. Like you just know it's more of an implied because you see them kind of come together, like on a like bed, and then it kind of cuts that off. So that's kind of there, and that was then. The last scene was now her mother and sister show up. Now her father's actually human, and so that's kind of one of the reasons why she wanted to come to Earth. But this caused a really conflict because she's messing with basically going into human like affairs and all that stuff, and well, not human affairs, but that's not what I meant. Actually, that's not why she stops. I remember correctly. The reason why she got in trouble is because someone found that out that she's an alien. That's why she's in trouble. So she has to go back and not see him again. But eventually, that all works out, and she actually does go back. I think, and stays with him because it's her husband. Still becomes a teacher. But they had a hard time actually like making like love with each other. So her mother's like, well, if you're married, you need to make love. Come on. So she actually helps them actually, finally make love with each other. But I don't know. It's a very weird concept, but the show is actually really funny. And if you like romance, it is a really good. It's a nice romance story. I think like if you get past the fact that it's a student and a teacher, I think if you like romance, you like comedies, I think you would like this series if you get behind it. Now that's Please Teacher, and then Please Twins is a sequel series, but not about the main characters, but new characters. So you have this boy. You have these three children who are orphaned, and they all each have this picture of a little boy and a little girl naked in a pool. I mean, if you're like, you might not like know, like this sometimes happens where parents who have their friends, or they have little children that are friends or whatever, like they don't have this understanding of what nakedness is or anything like that. So sometimes they might play naked with the whatever, they're little children. So I mean, it's kind of weird, but it happens like a lot. I mean, so it's not something like. It even happens here, in America. Even though you might not think it happens, it might feel a little weird about that. I mean, I even feel weird about that because if one day I have children, I'm definitely not letting that happen. But it happens. But yeah, they're all orphans, and they each have this picture. Well, they're only a brother and a sister, so we don't know what this third girl is, but they don't even know each other because they all got to different places. Well, a boy saw in the picture there's this house in the background, and they all saw it on TV because it actually is the house in the town that the first series takes place. And so he actually goes there and works with the orphanage on a job so he could stay and live at this house as long as he gets whatever he attends school, but also does his job too that he has for coding, because he does coding stuff like that for a job, and in order to get money to stay there. Well, then two girls show up claiming to be his sister, and so the main plot is trying to. And then those two girls actually kind of fall in love with him, and so the main plot was to figure out who's the sister and who's the stranger. And they're really afraid that whoever turns out to be the stranger gets kicked out. But they also they made a pact that whoever's the sister will help the other girl actually end up with their brother. And so that this turns into an interesting dynamic. The boy does kind of, reciprocate their feelings, I guess. it's a very weird dynamic. But then the younger girl, the boy is named Mako. I think Maku. The girl, one girl is named Karen, I think it was, and the other one is named Mina. Sorry about that. Back to where I was. Yeah, so the other girl is named Mina, but like it's two eyes, not one, apparently, because that's an interesting spelling there. But it turns out that because now Mina has this red hair, while the younger girl has kind of this bluish green hair color, where Mako has a blue hair color. So you would think, oh, okay, so you kind of could guess who the sister is based on just that. And it turns out that the little girl named Karen is actually his sister, and that's not actually their house. That was just in the background. See, it's very obvious from the start, from looking at that picture, that is not their house. That's just a house in the background. If you understand like how the streets are and where they're at, it's obviously that they're at a different house. Well, the little girl realized that and goes to the house and discovers a book in there that actually states that they were brother and sister. But then she kind of breaks the pact after revealing a sister, because she doesn't want to share her brother with a brother or whatever. And so this leads into and the rest of the show turns out makes a really weird dynamic of them now kind of being at odds with each other. But obviously Mako's going to end up with Mina, and that's how it ends with this at the end of the series, that they do end up together. So other than that, and so they don't get kicked out or anything like that. Also, I forgot to mention really quickly about the picture. I didn't clarify. The picture is actually, I kind of talked about it before in the kind of the beginning of the talk about Please Twins, but it's actually not a picture of a brother and sister. I did kind of mention about it being two friends, but it's actually in the show, it's originally thought to be brother and sister, but it's actually a picture of Mako and Mina. So Mina isn't a stranger. That's the reason why she has the picture too, is because it's a picture of Mako and her, and the sister had it because, well, she's the sister to the brother in that picture. So I wanted to clarify that a little bit about the picture, which I did. And yeah, so that's pretty, I think that it's a very interesting series. It's not a romance like the first series necessarily, but it definitely plays on the comedy, and I think both series are really funny as well. And then I really do kind of like the romance part in the first one, even though it is still a weird concept that you just have to get past, I think, to enjoy this both series, or that series. But yeah, I do recommend it if you want, like say, if you like romance and you like comedy, I definitely recommend it. If you don't mind the romance between a teacher and student, if you do mind that, you might have problems with it. But if you want, enjoy it, you have to get behind that part. That's all I have to really say. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. If you're new, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified for our next upload. My YouTube channel, website link, my Twitter, my Snapchat, and Instagram are all in the description as always. And thank you. Goodbye.